For today's episode topic, we are going to be covering the scariest thing imaginable racism. Because what could possibly be scarier than racism?
Well, for white people, probably sharks.
Good Lord, Keith. Wherever you go, you'll always come across some variety of color.
Well, wait. Technically, there are blind people out there, so they don't count when it comes to this.
Okay. Well, if you're not blind, then you'll come across color anywhere you go.
Wait, hold on. There are also colorblind people you didn't account for.
So I guess if you're colorblind or blind, you just don't really apply to what I meant. But to everyone else watching this, there's color everywhere you go.
But also, at the same time, nothing truly has color. It's just light reflecting off the object into your eye.
You see, what you didn't account for though was I didn't ask. Look, wherever you go, there's gonna be colors. Whether you can see them or not is an entirely different story, but they're still there. Many colors have certain stereotypes applied to them, and this can be noticed in common speech. I'm feeling blue. Caught red-handed. Golden opportunity.
Kept in the dark.
Um, okay. There's also rose-tinted glasses. So you can clearly see from these that the primary colors have the strongest associations with certain emotions or stereotypes. This is most prevalent between red's passion, blue's sadness and remorse, and yellow's big...
Black sheep of the family.
Dude, genuinely, what are you trying to get at with all this?
Do you really think there's nothing weird about these and their association with darker colors?
That genuinely makes no sense, man. I think even for this video, you're looking way too deep into things. Anyways, caught in a gray area.
Gray is just white mixed with some black, the darkest color of them all.
Again, reading way too deep into this.
Look, this topic may not be all black and white, but it's definitely something stuck in that gray area.
The door is right over there. I assure you it'd be perfectly fine letting you use it.
You hate me because you ain't me. But regardless, you still don't believe me. For God's sake, I used black and white in my sentence. You're making moon landing deniers look sane.
I guess you might be right. But either way, I don't think color in literature and speech nowadays has to do with racism, like even to the word's origins.
Oh, you'll see. You'll all see. Racism as a concept is actually newer than you probably thought, but in the short time that it appeared, it became rampant as ever beyond your possible imagination.
I mean, we still see it nowadays. I feel like it's not that hard to imagine.
Regardless, people were more so focused on the different beliefs of their contemporaries and arguing over that than simple skin color. Many different countries and empires spanned across countless different continents, even between the Romans, Mongols, and Ottomans. People were no strangers to seeing other varying skin tones. People were focused on not dying and spices, and definitely not whatever the complexion was of the dudes across the sea.
Well, how does racism get here then?
Shh, I'm getting there. Patience, pal. Anyways, a good place to start for the roots of the modern lens of racism today comes from the Western entrance into the Middle East.
Racism didn't begin after the Israel-Palestinian wars, man.
What the? Aren't you a history channel? It began with the Crusades.
Oh, that makes so much more sense. Sorry, I'm not caught up on all my medieval history. I guess you could say I was left in the dark about the Dark Ages.
Yet another example of dark being
I
associated with
swear you ruin everything. I do know the basic plot of the Crusades, though. The Muslims and Christians were fighting over Constantinople and other places like Jerusalem.
as a gross oversimplification, kinda. But either way, that conflict over such a long couplet of generations placed in the wrong set of beliefs than what it should have been. Instead of, we're disagreeing because our core beliefs are different. Another belief that sprouted up was, dark people bad.
Ah yes, the dawn of the explorer's age. Portugal, Spain, France, Denmark, Russia, and especially Britain began their dominance over the rest of the world.
Precisely. And with the application of gunpowder, they really became aggressive with their colonization of other areas. Even with all of this, though, there was one thing that really made racism into what we know it as today. For that, we go over to West Africa, and in particular, we zoom into a little landlocked country called Mali.
Mansa, Musa, Martian, Jeff Bezos! Voila!
The transatlantic slave trade was probably the biggest contributing factor to racism because when you got all these people around you doing your labor for you and they're doing it for free of charge, you start to see a little less of them.
Combined with a few poorly worded verses of Genesis.
You're learning.
Yep, unfortunately. After countless generations of Africans being moved from their homes into forced labor, natives moving further and further west due to the manifest destiny of settlers, along with other nasty things done to minorities all over Africa and Asia, Europe was thoroughly rolling in it. It's not like anything could violently disrupt the system of ordinance, right? Just like the
Transatlantic slave trade.
The American Revolution was incredibly disruptive in its own way, as Europe's greatest navy was thoroughly trashed by a group of farmers and a guy that wore funny wigs.
Actually, in my head canon, they were black and bald. Were insane rappers of their time. In the eye of a hurricane, there is quiet. For just a moment, a yellow sky.
As a result of the American Revolution, Britain became more lax on their slaves and allowed people to earn their freedom again, easier, alongside America becoming more of a superpower.
Sure is sad that there wasn't anything to disrupt the powers that be following the American Revolution. I mean, at least, that is, until
Da-da-da-da-da. All right.
kicking off the 19th century. This was all the century of racism in the West, particularly in the United States, with slavery running rampant all the way along the southern states, because of its nice climate, allowing large plantations to spark up from northern Carolina all the way to Texas. Every day, hundreds of thousands of people were forced to work in the fields completely free of charge. I wonder why they didn't sign up for a better deal. I mean, this boat looks scarier than Willy Wonka's. Hopefully they can get a vacation day every now and again. Okay, but for real. They were subjected to constant work and awful living conditions between flogging, branding, and even just outright killing disobedient slaves. In addition, following the Dred Scott case, sending the message that African Americans would never be citizens.
These are how things seem to be for the rest of American history, up until a little thing called the abolition movement kicked in. Big players like Frederick Douglass and his newspaper The North Star. Harriet Beecher Stowe's best-selling novel Uncle Tom's Cabin, revealing to many the horrors of slavery. Soldier Truth became known for smacking sense into young folk like yourself, respectfully.
I love Overwatch.
Respectfully destroying your whole sense of self, but regardless, I'm more of a Marvel Rivals type of guy myself. Many other known people like Harriet Tubman and her Underground Railroad.
And one of my personal favorites, John Brown. He was like an even more prehistoric Rasputin who went insane over abolition, attempting to put an end to slavery single-handedly. But ultimately, one blaze of glory later, and he was gone.
I hope you choke on that.
Inspiring nothing important, really.
The Civil War was arguably the most important event for African Americans and minorities all around, as the people of the United States began to realize that they might be bad people for all that they were doing to people of slightly darker complexion. I mean, shoot, they didn't even have to be skin color.
Catholic. Ew. Irish. Double ew. Ginger?
Don't get him started. So following the Civil War, not every problem was fixed, revolving around the issue of race. People still discriminated heavily against anyone that wasn't white and Protestant for the most part.
I guess you could reason that they were lacking a conscience.
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, come on now. Don't be a crow with me.
The Jim Crow South
Was quite the interesting period of time to be living in. This was the foundation for more modern racism, as it was when things like segregated water fountains, benches, and such other things began from. Banks refused to give out loans to newly made African American citizens, causing many to lead less than lavish lives, you could say.
People resorted to tightly knit communities, consisting of family, their church, and general surrounding neighbors, as the powers that be continued to exploit them with lower wages and other such guilty practices.
This era of American history continued into the early 50s, where things began to change following the military allowing African American soldiers to enter their platoons. This earned a lot of respect amongst the people of America to see their fellow man in another light. Did you have to pick a black light?
The Civil Rights Era was the time in history for such figures like Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, and of course, Martin Luther King Jr., all spreading words of equality all throughout America in their own distinct methods.
MLK's famous "I Have a Dream" speech would forever go down in history as a mark of where people of color and white people would begin to see each other more civilly.
So we did it, huh? Covered all of racism in America. It's finally over as of the 70s.
Are you deadass? Have you not been outside? Even with the amazing achievements like our first black president and such other movements for equality, the persistence of racism lives on. All we can do is attempt to make sure we don't persist with the racist beliefs. In a way, we could do that is by using a little less colored language, you know?
That's a fair point, I suppose. However, I think I know a way to fully eliminate racism from America.
Really. And what would that be?
It's fun to dream.
Oh no, a shark.
Haha, thanks to my great friend, whoever that guy was.
Giggity.
Yeah, that. For joining me for this episode. Happy Halloween, gang.
Week Gween Delili.